Don't bother looking for a cloud in the sky. Well, there might be a few, but just not in that shot. It is absolutely beautiful today here in Daytona. Welcome for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series final practice. It's presented by Toyota, and you see it. It is just an absolutely splendid day today. There's a few clouds, but I'll tell you what, it's hard to complain about it. 68% humidity, a little sticky out there, but the temperature is perfect. Upper 70s, a slight breeze just to keep you comfortable. And it is a great day to be at the racetrack along with Phil Parsons. I'm Vince Welch. Michael Waltrip down getting ready for the duels later tonight. Looking forward to that. Excited to be a part of that one, and you'll see that, of course, here on FS1. But we've got one more truck practice to get through. Phil, we've had two so far today. What's been the takeaway from your perspective on these first two sessions?
One thing I want to talk about is the fact that we have had a lot of changes with the new engine, the NT1 engine, and virtually no talk about it because there was really no problems whatsoever. The 75 truck felt like they lost a little bit of power there towards the end of that second practice session, so I'm sure they're looking at that. But I really like what I see. I like the fact that we saw multiple packs, saw no incidents whatsoever. The guys are able to make their way to the back, make their way back to the front. A lot of guys tried that. Johnny Sauter, Matt Crafton went to the back and made their way to the front. I think we're in store for a great race, as we always have here tomorrow night. And I think this practice session, if the guys got what they felt like they needed, their trucks are good, they pull up good, they have good individual speed, then we may not see a whole bunch of trucks running at the same time. But if there's guys that feel like they still need to work out some stuff, still need to make that truck drive a little bit better, then we'll see some packs again.
It's going to be interesting to see for sure what we've seen through these first couple of practices, and if we see more of that in the final practice. But let's go down and see what they're thinking about in the garage. We begin with Alan Cavana.
And Vince, Phil hit the nail on the head in terms of the 88 truck. They have exactly what they need. I talked to Crew Chief Junior Joyner. He says in all the time he's been with Matt Crafton, this is the best speedway truck they've had in terms of Matt's ability to be able to suck up to a truck in front of it and be aggressive during a race, just what he likes to do. He says it's the best one they've had, and given their history together, that is really saying something. So they are comfortable with their truck. Just expect a few single truck runs out there for the 88 and a lot of confidence heading into tomorrow night. Hermie?
Well, Alan, David Gilliland, the father of Todd Gilliland, is driving the 4 truck this weekend out of the KBM stable. And of all the trucks that are here from Kyle Busch Motorsports, the 4 of David Gilliland seems to be the happiest with his truck and with the speed they've got. You see Todd on top of the truck. He is watching his dad practice his truck. Now, they're going to do only pit road speed in this final practice. They really like the changes they've made. They like the speed they've got, and the adjustments they've made have really put them in a good spot. So limited practice time for David Gilliland, but son Todd will be his biggest fan tomorrow night here at Daytona as he tries to drive this 4 truck to victory lane.
Vince, ironically, that's the one of the 3 KBM trucks that has the new NT1 engine. The other 2 have the OEM engine, which is the Toyota engine. So it's interesting to see how those guys, and they're in a better position right here to judge better than anybody because they have one of each.
We'll talk more about that and also trucks on track when we return to Daytona for final. Back at Daytona, NASCAR Camping World Truck Series final practice just underway. There's a look at that 4 machine out of the Kyle Busch Motorsports stable. David Gilliland driving that one. We heard the report from the garage a little bit ago talking about how they were going to work on pit road entrance. And so we'll anticipate seeing that here shortly as Gilliland works around getting up to speed.
Noticed a lot of tape on the lower front balance on that truck, so I think this is going to be a mock qualifying run. And also, you want to make this racetrack as big as you can on the get up to speed lap because qualifying is only 1 lap. So that's why the guys will run around the top of the racetrack to try to make the racetrack as long as it can be so they can get up as much momentum for only that 1 lap of qualifying.
And qualifying will be right about this time tomorrow. So an indication, and the weather is supposed to be very similar tomorrow to what we have today. So this would be right around the time that David Gilliland would be doing a qualifying run for real tomorrow.
Be curious to see how fast he can go. Remember, we just talked about this being the NT1, the only one of the 3 in the KBM trucks.
And the NT1, for those that aren't familiar, maybe just joining us today, didn't catch the first couple of practices, it's the option engine for these teams. Many of the teams taking advantage of it, more cost effective for most. And it really, I think it's going to bring the field closer together because so many of the trucks are going to have the same power plant underneath. Not all, but the majority.
I think the latest count was about 26 or 27 of the trucks in the garage area had the NT1, and I think it's really going to come into play. I think when we get to Atlanta and Las Vegas, the speeds we saw in practice were all mixed up because of the drafting and everything, but it sure looked like the trucks were able to run well with the NT1 engine as well as the OEM Toyota engine and during those 2 practice sessions.
Check in back downstairs in the garage with Alan.
New number, new truck, new team, new everything for Cody Coughlin. The speed charts say it's doing pretty well. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, our Jegs.com Chevy was a little bit dancy out there to start, and I went back and watched some of the replay, and we were just darting around too much. And it was something that we were working on our steering package that I think some of our teammates had a similar issue. But yeah, for me, we just had to change some stuff around and get me more comfortable. But the guys did such a great job and worked really hard on getting this thing ready to go. And like you said, it's got speed, so we'll be good.
We can see some of that squirreliness right there in that video you were talking about. What can you do, or what can you learn? Because you're probably not going to get much drafting practice before tomorrow night's race.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's just more about how we have some things set up in there for my comfort and steering, and just what I'm used to and what I like. So we're just changing some stuff around, and like I said, they made some gains. So I think we'll be looking good for tomorrow.
New situation for Cody Coughlin. Hermie?
Well, Alan, Jordan Anderson, we followed you guys last year, one truck, making it from track to track to track, and you've got what I would consider a fleet of trucks now, and you guys have done a great job in the off season to get ready. Great looking truck. How's it running for you so far?
So far, so good. We're getting ready to go out for the final practice here in a little bit. We're up to 4 trucks this season. We're on the new Ilmore motor program that NASCAR's come out with. I think we're one of 27 trucks here this weekend that's got it. So I'm excited. The truck turned out great. Changed up our colors. We've run black and yellow for the past 3 years. Got blue and white this week. Jacob Company's on the hood, bomberito.com on the back. It's exciting. I'll be playing the driver-owner role this year, so kind of changed positions up a little bit. So excited to see what this year's got in store for us.
I think Phil Parsons in the booth has got a question, Phil.
Yeah, Hermie, you actually did some sponsorship of this truck last year, and just wondered if you were on board this truck as well this year or not.
Phil was saying that I did some sponsorship of this truck last year with Hermes Sandwiches, that, by the way, was a fake company that my people, without permission, gave sandwiches to your guys, and we wrote it off as sponsorship. That was okay, though. But have you had any luck getting anybody else to give you any sandwiches this year?
Not yet. Not yet. We actually got a guy from a guy that's been helping us with some sandwiches this week, but nothing official. So I'd like to try and figure out, maybe we'll get a contract written up, maybe do an official sponsor.
Let me tell you how to get a sponsorship with me is not tweet pictures with you stopping getting gas in Virginia at other people's service stations. Okay, we can make a deal on that. We can handle some sandwiches. Good luck this weekend.
Hey, I can tell you this. So we have stepped up our team. We've got 4 trucks, 2 of them are motors, but me and my guys are still going to be driving to every single race this year. So we've got a little old school flair. So a sandwich sponsor would go a long way. So we'll make something happen.
Come on, Phil's got a big mouth, so I'm gonna have to talk to him after the show.
Well, you can't.
He can help the sponsorship work out too. We'll make it happen.
Oh, he's loaded with money. Oh yeah, he can handle it. Oh yeah. Look forward to it.
Can't sneak anything past Hermie.
Not at all.
He was all aware of the pictures that Jordan's been posting on social media about where he's stopping to get gas.
But upset it wasn't at his gas station.
Hermie's greedy like that, isn't
He is.
Good view from the 88 of Matt Crafton on the visor cam.
This is going to be pretty tame from the visor cam. He's making a mock qualifying run. I can't wait to watch this view tomorrow night when he gets some among about 30 other trucks in the draft. Bouncing inside to outside the middle. Johnny Sauter right now has the quick time at a 49.59. That appears to be the fastest lap that we've seen anybody make in a mock qualifying run. We'll see how Matt slots in here. Grant Enfinger now second quickest, just about a half a tenth of a second behind Johnny Sauter, and then David Gilliland about a tenth of a second off Johnny. That's how close they are right now. We've got 3 trucks right now of the 6 that have been on the racetrack within about a tenth of a second.
Crafton now into turn 3. I love this view. Crafton brings it toward the start-finish line, and it's a little something to eat for dinner. It's just about that time. Dinner bell beginning to ring.
The inaugural running of the Daytona 250, the NASCAR Truck Series, and they have come home to the birthplace of speed. Whoa! Oh, look out! We got trouble. This is going to hurt.
It's going to be Carl Edwards winning the Florida Dodge Dealers 250. spun around and upside down.
Wow, completely over.
To the outside goes Kyle Busch, but it's Todd Bodine crossing the start-finish line.
A lot of great history here at Daytona with the trucks. Matt Crafton's seen just about all of them, all but one.
There, buddy.
Yet to
Bodine.
win, though, we should point out. So he really wants to start off the season tomorrow night with a victory. And yes, as you said, Todd Bodine, our buddy, with a couple of wins here at Daytona.
I see 7 top 5 finishes for Todd, 144 laps led. That was awfully good at these restrictor plate tracks. Good everywhere. 22 career wins for Todd in the Truck Series, as well as those 2 championships.
And you see, along with Todd Bodine with those 2 victories, Johnny Sauter has 2 as well. And of course, Johnny in the field for tomorrow night's race.
And the only former winner here at Daytona in the field.
Has the fastest lap in this final practice as well. As you look at the 2 truck, one of Johnny's teammates at GMS, and that's driven by Cody Coughlin.
We were riding along with Matt Crafton when we went away to commercial break, and he was on a mock qualifying run. We talked about that, and he came up 5 1/1000ths of a second off what Johnny ran in his mock qualifying run. So I'm telling you, the field is closer than it's ever been, Vince. Let's see where Cody can slot in here. Sixth quickest for Cody at a 50 flat. That's about 4/10 of a second right now off the quick time set by Johnny Sauter.
Single truck qualifying record here at a 47.98. Set back in 2000. Let's check in with Alan Cavana.
And Noah Gragson has the same number as he had last season, but everything else is different, including your spotter. What kind of challenge is that for you this year?
Yeah, it's great to be back at the racetrack first off, and to be working with Rudy Fugel and the rest of the team with our Safe Light Auto Glass Toyota. It's we had our first 2 practices of the year, so start of our championship run. So I'm looking forward to it. Just working out all the bugs. Got new spotter Tony Hirschman up there. I haven't worked with him until this weekend, so just trying to learn everything, get the seat belts all fitted right, get the helmets. My helmet, I just got it wired up, so just trying to get everything worked out, settled in. New team, the only thing that's the same is the number with me. Everything else is new, so just trying to get everything right here.
And for those who didn't see last night on Twitter, you were having some fun. You tweeted out you wanted some ice cream, and you told people where you were. What happened?
So I was laying in bed last night and got some vanilla ice cream. And, well, I wanted some vanilla ice cream and put it on Twitter, told them the hotel I was at, and I got really good fans. And these 2 kids showed up, and I didn't tell them my room number, but I told them I was on the 7th floor of the hotel, and they DM'd me, and they're like, hey, we're at the hotel. I'm like, no way. Like I couldn't believe that somebody showed up. So anyways, long story short, they came, had some ice cream with them. I followed them on Twitter. They're nice 2 kids. So made 2 new fans.
Hey, whatever works. I'm going to try that. I want some pizza later, Vince. Can you help me out?
Yeah, and good stuff. By the way, Phil, DM means direct message. I know on your flip phone they don't have that, but
I have a 5. I have a fairly current, up-to-date phone. Thank you. What a great run, though, for Noah Gragson. Martinsville just outdueled Matt Crafton from the outside on a late restart to take that lead.
His first career win.
Nobody thought he could do it from the outside, but he said, let me at it.
You know, he didn't get the finishes at the end of the season. I mean, when you just look at the numbers, maybe not quite as impressive as you might think after that win at Martinsville, 10th, 15th, 18th. But in that last half of the season, he was right around the front much more consistently, and crashed out early in this race last year. Kind of got off to a slow start to the season, but he really came along in that second half of the campaign.
Yeah, he really turned it around at Martinsville, our first race at Martinsville, which was the 3rd race of the year back then, and had a top 5 finish then. And we said, okay, we know this kid has something special. And then he went through a stretch, Vince, during the summer where he's finished in the top 5, top 10 every single race. Again, as you mentioned, he didn't get the finishes at the end of the race, similar to what he was running, but still a great season for him.
Good showing. Good look at Spencer Davis on track in that 51 machine. Final practice for the Camping World Truck Series here at Daytona. Had 2 practices earlier today. Grant Enfinger fastest in the first session, and his teammate at Thor Sport, Ben Rhodes, was fastest in the second practice. And how about that lap turned in by Clay Greenfield at a 49.41.
Yeah, that was an incredible lap there. I did not see Clay run that lap. Don't know if he had any help, because you can get a second worth of help here from the truck in front of you. But we'll take a look back and see if we can determine whether Clay had any help or not. But nonetheless, it was still a great lap by Clay Greenfield.
You know, we talked earlier today about drivers practicing on getting to pit road under a green flag situation. Here's Spencer Davis racing here for the first time.
He just started to slide that right front tire, then wisely let off the brake, especially here in practice. Better to be speeding a little bit in that first segment than flat spot those tires.
And talk a little bit, Phil, if you would, about the challenge for especially a driver who's never been here before, making his Truck Series debut, making it at Daytona, and the challenge of getting off turn 4 under a green flag condition and getting to pit road and down to speed so you don't get penalized.
We've seen so many incidents over the years, Vince, with people trying to get pit road. With these trucks, because they have such a big cab and that windshield is standing up so straight, you can come off for turn 4 wide open. You can be running 190 miles an hour, and you can get slowed down to the pit road speed of 55 by the time you get to pit road. And that's all fine and good when you're up by yourself, but you also have to worry about if you get on the brakes too hard, that splitter might be on the ground. Then you're going to slide the front tires. Then if you have 10 other guys trying to get to pit road at the same time on a green flag pit stop, because you're running in a pack and they want to pit together. We've seen so many incidents over the years about guys getting together when they're trying to get to pit road. So it's very, very challenging for a veteran, much less somebody that's never been here before.
A fine line right there, Spencer, because sometimes you might want to take, 2 tires or just fuel.
Yeah, 10-4 fun. I really pushed it right there. I wanted to for a good reason, to see how much I could get. I pushed it more and more every time.
And talking to him about making sure you don't flat spot those tires if you have to get on the brakes too hard, because if you are wanting, as the spotter indicated, you wanted just 2 tires or just fuel only, and you do damage to the tires getting to pit road, that's not going to do you any good when you leave.
Yeah, and they're not really prepared to change 4 tires or even change 2 tires if it was going to be gas only.
Hermie?
Got Corbin Forster driving the 7 truck. Good looking truck this weekend at Daytona. Now, are you lucky or unlucky, because you're working on your truck and most teams do not allow the driver to work on the truck?
Yeah, we're a small team, just starting out, and it's hard, man, so I have to work on my truck a lot of the time now, and I like it. I learn a lot more as a driver. You see what we're running, what's under the hood, and what goes into it, so it makes you appreciate it more as a driver.
You guys had to change a transmission earlier. What was the issue, and is it all squared away now?
Yeah, the transmission wasn't staying in 4th gear. My team worked really hard. We went to a couple of them and got it all straightened out and picked up some good speed by ourselves, so just looking forward to tomorrow.
That's Corbin Forster. He'll be in the 7 truck.
Made a few starts last year, 3 to be exact. Finished 20th here at Daytona. His best of the 3 finishes.
Yeah, Doug George is crew chief in that effort. Doug's longtime experienced crew chief here in the Truck Series. Former racer himself. Won a lot of races out on the West Coast in the K&N Series over the years.
Good looking machine here. Eddie Triconis, the crew chief on the 41, and that's driven by Ben Rhodes, winner last year at Las Vegas.
See, top of the board now, Johnny Sauter went back out, ran a little bit quicker than Clay Greenfield, ran a 49.39. So Johnny picked up about 0.2 of a second over what he ran in his first mock qualifying run in this session. And
you see the speed there at 182 plus. In the draft, it's another 10 mile an hour, right?
Yep, absolutely. We saw speeds over 192 miles an hour. Ben Rhodes ran over 192 miles an hour himself in the draft. So it's amazing how much these trucks like that air. So Ben had to drive around a truck that looked like he was just coming off a pit road.
He's all taped up. You see the green tape there on over the opening below the grill on a mock qualifying run. Of course, that little bit of traffic didn't help him out on it, that's for sure.
I want to know if that lap Clay Greenfield ran was by himself, and I believe Hermie's caught up with him.
Let's find out. Hermie?
I got him, and I thought I'm sure it was a product of bringing a fast truck to the racetrack, and a good driver. Phil Parsons up in the booth is questioning where this speed came from. I'm on your side. I mean, down here with the...
It was when he was pushing me back years ago when we were painting that parking lot.
Oh, you're still getting that push from that?
Yeah, Phil's a really good drafter. He ran good on speedways too, so, you know, that draft still...
You're not supposed to give him credit. He was ragging on you, you know.
Yeah, that's... appreciate it, Phil. I'll take anything I can get.
Good run, though. So was that a drafting lap with that truck or by yourself, or good speed in the 68?
No, that was a pure qualifying run totally by myself, so we're really happy with it. And first, I'm just really thankful I'm even able to be here after my accident over the winter. Just really thank my doctors and all the fans and colleagues that reached out to me and prayed for me, and just really blessed to be able to be here and even be on track. And we've got a really fast AMVETS Please Stand truck. Really looking forward to tomorrow.
A lot of talk with this engine, the new NT1 engine. Has that been one thing that you feel like has helped you get to more of a level playing field here in the garage?
I definitely feel like it did. For me, it was the right decision. I don't know some of the big teams that might have been closer on power than I was. It might not be that big a difference, but definitely for my team and my situation, it was without a doubt the right move. Feel like it really gets up to speed good, and obviously I did run one draft and run earlier in the day, and I could make really big moves. I just ran a couple laps, see how it felt. You know, we don't have a backup truck, so I just wanted to feel it out and then get off the racetrack where we still have a truck to go race with tomorrow.
That's Clay Greenfield.
Thanks, Hermie, and mentioned that he was coming back from injuries, broken wrist, really banged up. Glad to see him back. Glad to see him back at the racetrack. Ooh, something off the...
Maybe part of the side skirt off that 50 truck of Travis Quapple.
The three of Jordan Anderson out there, along with the one of B.J. McLeod, and
debris on the back. You're clear by 2 to the bottom.
You see the red is coming out. So they're going to go out there and pick up that piece that just came off the 50, and then we'll get back to practice. Here at Daytona, final practice presented by Toyota, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. You see the red is out after a piece flew off the 50 of Travis Quapple. Let's check in back downstairs with Hermie.
Well, Brian Doza in the 28, and you guys have been showing really good speed this entire day. But my first question is, how many pit passes do you have to give to all these people that are around your truck? I count at least 40. Are they all working on the truck? Are they friends, supporters, or fan club members?
They're all friends and family of Mr. Jim Rosenblum, the owner of the truck, and he's saying this is his last race, so everybody's coming to support him on. So, yeah.
Well, good for you. That's a good crowd. And what's been the difference? You guys have shown good speed this entire day.
Well, we switched over to the Ilmore engine to try to help us there, and we have a little bit of speed in the drafting, and we'll see what'll happen at qualifying. I think we just did a mock run, and it seems to be pretty good. So.
Well, good luck to you. It's good to see you here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yes, sir. That's the 28. Excited group.
Yeah, they were top 5 in both practice sessions, both previous practice sessions today.
Made a mock qualifying run, ran a 50-30, pretty respectable, and that's exactly what the idea was behind that engine. The NT1 was, number one, make it more affordable and bring the competition closer together. And Vince, I think it's working.
How much more affordable? Put that in perspective for us.
From what people tell me, some of the team managers, they feel like the first year they will save somewhere around $250,000. Wow. And then year 2, once you have the inventory, they feel like they'll save maybe as much as maybe $450,000. So you talk about a 3-year plan, and you're talking about saving well over $1 million.
And that is significant for
yes,
every one of the truck teams, but especially the smaller teams.
Yes, without a doubt. I mean,
there's not a team out here that wouldn't want to save $1 million over the course of 3 years.
Exactly right.
And really, at any of the 3 levels, whether it's Xfinity or Monster Energy Cup Series, if you say, hey, I can save you $1 million.
And not to mention the fact that it's bringing the competition closer together. Some of those fellas that weren't able to spend that as much money on the engines, they know now they can have the exact same engine that Johnny Sauter has in that number 21 truck, that Allegiant truck right there.
And some teams that, I mean, let's be honest, some teams that can save that and they've got the wherewithal, they're going to just take that money and put it somewhere else.
Well, that's
understandable. I mean, that's just what racers do.
You're going to spend all you can get.
Absolutely.
For sure.
But for the smaller teams that don't have that budget, That is that's a big help for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's, Clay Greenfield, perfect example. Has a good truck, has had a good truck. He made the investment to have a good speedway piece, and now he has the engine to go with it, and he's fast here.
Here's Cody Coughlin in the 2. You look at his teammates there at GMS. Johnny Sauter, of course, the former champ. Justin Haley, the teenager. Dalton Sargent making his Daytona debut here this week.
Vince, you talked about the young drivers and how difficult and challenging it is to come off of turn 4 and try to get down to 55 miles an hour. We just saw Johnny Sauter, a series champion and a 2-time winner at this racetrack, do the same thing. He practiced getting to pit road. Because one thing this engine has brought is maybe a little different transmission. So that's maybe something that Johnny's trying to get used to, is a little bit different transmission because of a different power band. This engine doesn't turn as many RPMs as the OEM engine does. So that may be something he's getting used to, and he's way back off, and away he goes.
These are things that can make a difference in whether or not you win the race or don't win the race. If you make a mistake getting to pit road, a couple of years ago we saw a big pileup at the entrance to pit road because it wasn't executed cleanly. This year, of course, there's changes in regards to the pit stop procedures to begin with, and one less pit crew member allowed over the wall. The fueler can only fuel. So, I mean, let's take a look. This is what the pit stop will look like now in the overhead view. So you're going to have one less tire carrier.
Yeah, we can count them. There's 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys, 5 guys. Remember, before we would have had 6 guys over the wall, Vince.
And remember, too, in the past, you would have had a front tire carrier. And in this vision here, in this visual, you only have a rear tire carrier. The Jackman, I believe, carried the tire. Was that the changer carried the tire? So teams are kind of skinning the cat in multiple ways. But you have 1 less crew member over the wall, and that gas man can only fuel the car. He can't, or truck. He can't make any chassis changes or anything else.
And that's another option there, where at 1 tire carrier carries both tires. But you saw how wide he had to go around the jack. He was actually out on pit road because of having to get around the jack carrying that other tire. So that's a couple different ways that these guys are doing that. And and really, I think until this thing shakes out a little bit, we're going to see multiple ways to go with the same thing. We're going to see the front tire changer carrying his own tire. We're going to see 1 tire carrying 2 tires. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out. And one thing we know for sure, the pit stops are going to be a little bit slower than they were before.
And we saw some of the teams work through that in the Clash on Sunday at the Cup level. And it's going to be interesting when we see the race here tomorrow night. I mean, it just opens the door for possible errors because, quite frankly, they're going to be doing it under race conditions, many of these guys, for the very first time. So it certainly is going to be challenging for these crews. And what happens on pit road during those pit stops is going to be a major part of this race tomorrow night.
We appreciate Pitt showing us that video. That's a practice pit stop school in Mooresville.
Back here at Daytona, about 15 minutes or so of practice left. Final practice for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. And then we'll take you right into NASCAR Race Day, leading up to the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series duel at Daytona. 7 o'clock, by the way. 7 o'clock. And the lineups for Duel 1, Alex Bowman on the pole for the Daytona 500. Congratulations to Alex.
Pretty heavy Hendrick flavor up front there with Alex. William Byron starting in row number 2. Jimmy Johnson on the outside of front row.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr., a couple of restrictor plate wins last year. This is Duel 1. Of course, Kurt Busch, the Daytona 500 winner from a season ago. Ryan Newman has won the Daytona 500.
Clash winner from Sunday. Brad Keselowski back there in row 5 with Kurt.
Justin Marks, Jeffrey Earnhardt, and Earnhardt in the 500 for the 40th year in a row. And there's David Gilliland, who's also running the truck tomorrow night. And then here's the lineup for the Can-Am Duel 2.
Now this has a Joe Gibbs flavor with the first 3 positions being filled by all of Joe Gibbs' drivers, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and Eric Jones.
Casey Kane in the 95 this year. Danica Patrick will be making her final NASCAR start on Sunday in the Daytona 500.
How about our champion starting all the way back in row number 7, Martin Truex Jr.
The Canadian DJ Kennington, Corey LaJoie, Greg Galding, Mark Thompson in there as well.
But 66 years old, yep. Mark Thompson.
It's going to be fun. You'll see it a little bit later this evening right here on FS1. Looking forward to being part of the coverage. On the left-hand side of the screen, the speed chart for this final practice, and we can remind you that Grant Enfinger was fastest in practice 1 today, and his teammate at ThorSport, Ben Rhodes, fastest in the second practice. GMS driver Johnny Sauter fastest so far in this final session.
You can tell we haven't had any drafting in this session because our top speed is 10 miles an hour off what it was in practice 1 and practice 2, Vince.
Here's that 18 of Noah Gragson. Heard from Noah a little bit earlier today, and of course he's working with crew chief Rudy Fugel, who has been a champion maker over there at KBM with Christopher Bell last year, and William Byron, even though William Byron didn't win the championship the year before, certainly was the dominant combination of Byron and Rudy Fugel, and then in 2015 he did win the championship with Eric Jones. Does that instill Noah Gragson as the favorite for the championship this year, just in his association with KBM and with Rudy Fugel?
I think so. But again, at the end of last year, I thought he was going to be one of our championship contenders, maybe the favorite for the championship because of the year he had and the fact that he is within the KBM stable. And you talk about how many championships they've won. So, and I think you put him with Rudy Fugel, and that's Rudy knows how to teach these young drivers or help these young drivers really race beyond their maturity. They really do. And I was talking to Rudy yesterday because they had that test we talked about 3 or 4 weeks ago in Charlotte, and he said that early indications are very, very good. Noah had a really good feel for the truck and really felt like he was on his game.
I wouldn't be surprised if this young man is right up there battling for that championship 4 as well when we get to Homestead. It's Ben Rhodes.
And watch the speeds here, Vince, for Ben Rhodes, because a good day seems to hit a bit of a snag just now because they were in the pits for a good 15 minutes. They tried to push him out, and the truck just wasn't firing. And then when it did get out on the track, Eddie Traconis, his crew chief, just said it was slow. So they brought him back in, and then he was staying. He was about 10 minutes or so underneath the hood, really in the engine bay, focused on the air intake area anyway. He wouldn't tell me exactly what he was working on. They downloaded some information, thought they made a fix, and sent him back out. It fired right up. We were standing right next to it, but I don't think they're getting the speed and the power that they want right now, and they're just trying to figure out what the problem is.
Yeah, I'm just reading the body language of Eddie Traconis there, the crew chief on the right-hand side, and don't see that being all that pleased with the hand gestures he was making just a moment ago. All that pleased with what he was getting.
The nice thing about it is the technicians can plug in. These have an engine control unit, an ECU, because they're fuel injected just like our Cup cars, and so they can diagnose and analyze what may or may not be going wrong. We saw the same situation with the 75 truck of Parker Kligerman at the end of the second practice. They felt like they were losing some speed, so the tuners would jump on that and figure out. We'll see what Ben runs that time. It was a 50-40. That's about what he ran the time before that, but that's still about a second off right now what we see for the fast time set by Johnny Sauter.
Yeah, just inside the top 15. So work to do for that group. About 10 minutes left in final practice for the trucks at Daytona. Daytona, it's final practice for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. You see the clock in the upper left-hand portion of the screen. Just under 8 minutes left here in this session. It's an opportunity to check in again with Hermie.
Well, Vince, this is Stuart Friesen, driver of the 52. This team made a lot of progress last year, almost a breakout season, had a good run at Homestead to finish off the season. What's got to be the next step with your team to give you a chance to win consistently in this series?
I think that happened over the winter, just having our HFR guys aligned with GMS and now Tripp being able to be in the shop, all winter long with Joe and these guys. It was good, it was good building as a group. And, we got some real fast Chevy Silverados. Ilmore smoke seems like it's right there, probably a little bit better than we had before. So looking forward to that. We got some good speed here today, but boy, that 21's fast.
you're going to have some fun over Volusia tonight during some dirt track racing. Got rained out or fogged out last night, so you got a double feature tonight, but I know you don't mind that.
Yeah, we got our big block modified. Our 44 car was fast last night, and then the fog rolled in and dampened our spirits a little bit. But we're going to hustle over there now and hopefully make it for time trials and then run that feature and a whole other program. So
have fun and good luck.
All right, thanks, guys.
Alan?
Stuart Friesen, 5th on the board. He was just saying how fast your truck is. What'd you learn out there?
Yeah, I mean, all the guys at GMS on our Allegiant Travel Chevy did a good job. It's a truck we ran at Talladega last year, had a lot of speed, and you know, it's okay to have good speed. We had good speed in the draft, especially. That's where I was most pleasantly surprised. So yeah, everybody's doing a good job, working hard, and I think it's really important to have a good run tomorrow night. Obviously, start the season off on a good foot or a good start, and you know, just try to salvage something out of this thing if you can, not get tore up. So that gives you a little shot in the arm going to Atlanta next week. So proud of everybody. They did a great job. We got good speed. We just have to execute tomorrow.
The new engine this year, can you tell the difference in the driver's seat from last year compared to this year under the hood?
Yeah, you can. I mean, there's a lot of things that are different. I just did a couple mock pit stops there. You know, it's a lot different RPM on pit road than we used to be. It's about anywhere from 500 to 1,000 less. So that's a little different. You know, the pitch and the tone. But the draft, I noticed some things that really I kind of liked with the new package. Just recovers a lot better, it seems like. I felt like you could be a little more aggressive. I don't know if that's the motor or the truck, but anyway, I'm happy with it. And you know, but there's definitely little things that we're going to learn as we go. But so far, so good.
He likes it. That may be bad news for the field.
Certainly looked good coming up through the draft earlier today in that practice session. And he's the fastest in this session. The mock qualifying run at better than 182. There's the 83, Scott Stenzel. Going to make his first Daytona start tomorrow night.
Yeah, Scott didn't make any Truck Series starts last year. He ran Talladega 3 or 4 years ago.
50 of Travis Quapple out as well. 36 trucks are here for 32 spots and will qualify tomorrow. You see there on the left-hand portion of your screen. Qualifying tomorrow, 4:30 Eastern. NASCAR race day at 7 o'clock, and then we'll drop the green around 7:30 tomorrow night for 100 laps.
Travis, a former champion here in the series, 2-time runner-up here at Daytona. I think if you added the distance that he finished second by in his 2 second-place finishes, it'd be less than a truck length.
He has been right there knocking on the door. And the one thing about this race, it could be someone that you wouldn't have thought would have a shot at winning. Could be right there tomorrow night to get it done. I'm not sure many would have picked, any would have picked Kaz Gralla to win last year, the 18-year-old. His first Truck Series start.
Vince, he sat on the pole.
Yep, he did.
We knew he had speed.
Pretty good. Sat on the pole and won the race.
Had Jerry Baxter calling the shots for him.
Baxter, the crew chief this year for Cody Coughlin. Coughlin's hoping that Jerry brings a little bit of that good fortune with him.
Kaz was running 7th when they took the white flag. And then they came off of turn 2 and trucks were going everywhere, upside down, sideways, left and right, and he just drove through it and did an outstanding job. It really had a good year.
Well, that just goes to show that until they drop that checkered flag, you've got a shot, especially here at Daytona, because you never know what's going to happen coming to the line.
We found that out again last Saturday night in the ARCA race, didn't we?
Absolutely. Now, it took a while to get there.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
The final minute here in final practice.
Let's see if Finn Rhodes can find some of that speed that they feel like they lost. And it's really hard. I mean, you can be 3 or 4 tenths off, and the driver knows it, and that's going to really take that information away from having to drive around the 54 truck of Bo LeMastus. But Bo was at the last few seconds of practice trying to get out to get him another lap in. Yeah, you can be 3 or 4 tenths off where you feel like you need to be, and it's really hard to put your finger on it. Again, that's when you're going to rely on the technicians to plug that into the ECU and see if the data shows anything.
The red and black wave, and practice is complete. 3 sessions today. Well, if you haven't figured it out by now, with all this track time that you've had available to you today, You've got what you've got. And fortunately enough that here at Daytona, it's going to, because of the draft, everybody's going to be in play.
Every single truck here is going to be in play.
Johnny Sauter fastest. Clay Greenfield, Matt Crafton, Grant Enfinger, Stuart Friesen in the top 5. Practice complete for the trucks at Daytona. The Cup cars out, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. Of course, the Can-Am Duel getting ready to get rolling here at Daytona. Here's the way that final practice shook out.
Great effort by Clay Greenfield, second quickest truck in the 68. Stuart Friesen up in the top 5. How about Bola Mastis right there at the end, having a great run in David Gilliland's truck. David Gilliland's racing in Kyle Busch's truck, and Bola Mastis is in his and David Gilliland's truck.
Team effort.
That's right.
Brian Doza, we mentioned he was top 5 in the first 2 sessions. Nice follow-up, 13th. Ben Rhodes right there in the top 15 as well. Of course, tomorrow we're going to qualify at the trucks, and that's at 4:30 Eastern right here on FS1. And then NASCAR race day at 7 o'clock, and then they're going to drop the green around 7:30 tomorrow night for the season opener here at Daytona. The weather's supposed to be just as perfect tomorrow as it is this afternoon and this evening. And, of course, still to come yet tonight, NASCAR race day is coming your way next, and the duel at Daytona, 7 o'clock. We'll see the Cup cars in action.
The duel used to be my favorite races of the weekend. That's till we started running the truck races here anyway.
Going to be fun. Looking forward to it. For Hermie Sadler and Alan Cavada, Phil Parsons, I'm Vince Welch. Thanks for being with us from Daytona.